Good morning. I'm Pastor Tully. I'm here with my Wednesday morning message here on behalf of all the Rockdale County Presbyterian churches. I'd like to begin this morning with a quote from one of my favorite philosophers. It goes, "It's only different in your mind. You must unlearn what you have learned." I remember really very clearly when I was a kid, my Uncle Philip teaching me how to shake hands. He taught me, you gotta shake hard, you gotta squeeze real hard. I was standing on my grandmother's porch and we went through it over and over multiple times. And I remember very clearly what he said and what he taught me. Ironic that this is a memory I'm holding on to in a time when we're not really supposed to shake hands. But I've been thinking a lot about the things we learn and the things that we learn how to do. Maybe, it's something you learned the first time you did it, but maybe it's something that you learned so long ago you can't even remember a time when you didn't know that one thing. Everything we do, everything we say, everything has to be learned. Even the most basic things like reading, writing, talking, walking, standing, sitting. We learn how to interact with people. We learn what behavior is rude and what behavior is considered polite. We learn how to use a phone, how to use a door, how to turn on the lights. There are some things we learn so long ago that they become really a part of our identity. And we really can't remember a time before we learned that thing. These core learnings really shape who we are. And it is in times of crisis like this pandemic when we hold on to these core learnings and they become really important to us. And they become important to our sense of identity and our sense of community and who we are together. Of course, they can also be something that really gets in the way of us learning something new. I saw a video about a month ago of Prince Charles, and he was talking about how we shouldn't shake hands, and they put down the microphone, and he immediately walked over and shook someone's hand. Shaking hands was so important. It was so ingrained in who he is that he couldn't not do it. Prince Charles was later diagnosed with COVID-19. So what does all this have to do with the church? Well, over the past few months, I've watched the church learn new things. I've watched us learn how to do ministry in new and creative ways, while I've watched us learn how to love while keeping our distance. But I've also seen some folks who can't unlearn things that they need to let go. So my question for you this day, what have you learned this month? As April 2020 comes to a close, what may be remembered as the worst April ever, as this month ends, what is it that you've learned about yourself? Maybe you learned something intentionally. You tried to learn a new skill. Maybe you learned something without even realizing that you were learning it. You learned new Zoom technologies, how to conference call with other folks. What did you learn this month? Because learning and wisdom and education are just so important. I can't stress it enough. I want to close with a scripture. Proverbs 16:6. How much better to get wisdom than gold. To get understanding is to be chosen rather than silver. Amen.